Dublin Derby delight, the performance of champions, or is it all about points on the board? Meatball's post-game interview and round one reviews, all to come on today's show. Now, Dunny's away on a well-deserved break, but I'm delighted to welcome two of the finest to join us for today's show. Friend of the show, Adam Leonard. Hi, Edsy. It's great to have you back. Hope you had a great weekend.
Andy McGowan, at long last. Yes, not too bad. How are you getting on?
Very well, lads. It's been a long time. One of our favourite episodes so far. I think it was episode 2, Adam. We had you on.
Episode 2.
Available to listen back. And we've also had to search high and low around the cafes and bars of Drumcondra, but we managed to ruffle out well-known SLO Supporters Liaison Officer John Brennan. JB, it's lovely to have you. Thanks for joining us on your debut on the show.
Great. Andy, thanks for having me on, and no bother at all. Happy to jump on. Hope you and Adam are well.
Yeah, before we get into the juicy stuff, John, what is an SLO, briefly, for anyone who doesn't know what that is?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, it's a liaison officer, essentially the middleman between the club and supporters. If any fans have any issues, queries, suggestions, ideas, they can come through myself, or likewise, if the club have any issues or might want to run a couple of ideas past any fans or groups, they get in touch with me, and I can reiterate it and seek feedback. So it's kind of like the olive branch, you could say, and also just having that person, that presence there to basically be in between for both.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine any Shelbourne fans ever having any issues. You know, we're all a happy bunch, John, so I'm sure you have a quiet week every day. That's something we're going to come back to in the weeks ahead. We're going to hopefully sit down with John to actually drill down into the nitty-gritty of what he does, what the reason for all his grey hairs, and as we look forward to hopefully a busy summer season on the continent. But besides that, there's probably only one real place to start, and that was last Friday night. Talca Park looked wonderful, sounded wonderful, smelled even better. The whole event was something that has been building for many years. Ads, it wasn't a classic game, but as Damien Duff said, he felt it was a performance of champions. Would you agree, or is it simply all about getting the job done and getting those 3 points on the board?
I think an element of performance of champions is getting the job done and getting 3 points, Andy. You know, so I would agree to kind of put a point to it. Yes, I absolutely would agree with it. I think the game against Pats the week before was, for me, our best, definitely defensive display. I thought we were unbelievable, and I think Friday we set out obviously look to not concede goals, and then the substitutions of Cute and Meepo, were clear, kind of attacking, decisive decisions to bring them on, and they paid dividends in the end. So yeah, I would agree with Duffer. I do think it was a performance of champions. I think it was probably our most complete performance so far. We've had great games against Derry and against Waterford at the start of the season, but I think even against Derry conceding straight away after scoring, stuff like that is frustrating. I don't think Waterford were up to a whole lot, so we could kind of play in second gear and beat them. So I think Friday was definitely our most complete performance. I would say.
A lot of people, John, said that it was, I think understandably, it was a bit of a cautious first half. You're not going to win games most of the time in first halves unless you stick 3 or 4 past someone. But is that a sign of Shels now, game by game, becoming more mature, building momentum in games? And then, as we've seen in the last couple of games, actually, Shels seem to perform a little bit better in the second half. What would your thoughts be?
Yeah, absolutely. Agree with everything Adam said there. Good first half, and then a better second half. More tempo, rhythm to our play. I suppose Bowes sat in makes it a bit more difficult. We have Adam mentioned the subs making a difference. We were the ones that was looking to get the winner. You could say we'd shown the more impetus going forward. We still have new players in the squad, and they're still gelling and fitting into the new system, whether it's 3-5-2 or 5-3-2. And I have to say, players playing now their usual positions are playing there to the highest standard. So, that's incredible as well to have that squad depth there, and that players are flexible to fill in any position. It's all like once they're on the team or once they're playing, that's all that matters for them. Um, yeah, and for me, post scoring there, there was confidence, the world of good. No, all strikers acting on confidence. Um, but it was, ball ricocheted in. Evan, lovely through ball by Harry to Evan. Evan doing well. Ali took a shot, ricocheted, and Mebo's lovely touch and an old fashioned toe poke. And once it goes in, absolute pandemonium. And I think we were always going to hold on after that.
Well, I think you're a bit more confident than I was for those last 5 minutes or so, John. For me, it was a little bit, good old up and up. But Bowes decided to wake up and just pump that ball into the box. But I think Bowes really were there for the taking. And in games in the past with these tight ones, ads, sometimes you can't quite get the job done. But like, it is, it doesn't matter how you do it. Getting the job done is all that counts, isn't it? And again, this will help build momentum now as we head into a very busy weekend.
Yeah, I think playing Bows is a really peculiar one sometimes because it happened last season where we went into the game in Dalymount, the first one, and they hadn't done a whole lot. They haven't done a whole lot since, but they hadn't done a whole lot at that point. And I think it was one of the Divine was on his way out, Reynolds was on his way in, and we went to Dalymount. We dominated them 1-2-0, and you were kind of thinking, is this Dreamland? Like, is this real? And then we've had the game last year where they come to Talca, one of Reynolds' first game, they turn us over, and like they tend to just turn up against us, which is really funny. Um, but I think Friday was all about kind of getting the wins under the belt. The game against Pats the week before is, for my money, was one of the highest standards of League of Ireland football I've ever seen. Two teams shutting each other out, not giving much up. I think the problem with people these days is they see a game that's 0-0 and it's no goals, but defensively both sides were really at it. John touched on players playing out of position. You have on Friday even Mark Coyle and Gano. I know Gano's a defender, but probably in a peculiar position for him. Camo's been unbelievable. Like we're kind of in a position now where we have these players that are so versatile, so flexible that they can just line in anywhere. And to be honest with you, I don't want to contradict you, Andy, but I from those last 10 minutes, Bowes could have been there for another hour and they wouldn't have scored. And I think that's probably the big outlier of it all. I think that says it all about where we're at and where they're at. And they bring on a player like Parsons and doesn't do enough. You haven't heard much of the Moose these days. That was a bit of a trend, wasn't it, for a while? And he's yet to still score. Colin Whelan didn't get a sniff.
Yeah.
We were just so much better than Mandy. Honest to God, we could have been there for another day or two and they wouldn't have scored.
And
Yeah, well,
and
thanks, Az. Sorry, go ahead, John. I'm just
yeah,
I need to have more faith in what's happening in front of me, Az. Maybe it's just the nerves get to me. Sorry, Johnny,
and
go ahead.
not forgetting what Adam said there, the Pats defensive display as well. Yeah, you have to ride your luck at times. Um, we'd Lewis who came in for a couple of games there and he's been excellent, and unfortunately picked up a bad injury. And it was another kind of makeshift put together back four, back five, 3 or 5, and for the lads to really dig in and grind it out at the end. Adam's right. I think Bowes could keep launching balls in. I think we were just comfortable. Yeah, it gets nervy and cagey as you expect in a derby game, and Bowes or any team will be throwing the kitchen sink at it. But I think what's admirable there now is in the last 2 games, 2 clean sheets, and we're not conceding silly, sloppy goals that we were at the start of the season.
Clean sheets are what got us to the Holy Land last year. Bowes seemed happy enough just to sit in for the draw, ads. Would that be fair to say? I think they'd made it to half time relatively unscathed. They had a couple of sort of half chances themselves. But then we saw the screw turning from Duffer. He made that change. I think Meatball may have come on first. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then he made a change with, I think it was JJ Lunny went off for Ali Coote. Now that was not a surprise, but you could see he could have possibly made someone else instead of Ali coming on. But that was good management, and that was the key to the change in the game.
Yeah, I think you have to remember as well, Coop's a former Bulls player, so he's going to want to come on and make an impression against them. Um, for so long we've been called the minnows and this and that, but Bulls have become a bit of a fader club for us, haven't they? With John O'Sullivan, Ali Coop. That's going to rattle a few people, isn't it? But look, it's the in-game management. Look, Andy, the second half starts, and I don't think Bows got out their own half for a good, maybe 40 minutes. And obviously, look, when we get a goal, and it's natural enough, you tend to sit in and try and ride out the result yourself. But there was no point in which I was kind of nervous at that point. But yeah, Q comes on, and I think it's a funny thing with Q and Rebecca. Like, we're in a position now where we have these really quality players just to be able to bring on, and someone like Chapman who comes in from Sligo, and I think people are getting on Chapman's back a bit. You have to realise he hasn't really had a pre-season. I think he's playing through a bit of an injury still as well. So, like, the expectation for Shels is at an all-time high in this league, and to be fair, I think if you look at the top half of the league, it's as competitive as it has been in a long time. So, um, yeah, I think maybe to be right or look, I don't think so. I think we were fully deserving of it, and that was just typical. They were happy to sit in, to be expected as well when you consider how poor they've been. They're not going to come to talk and play us off the park. You'd be very surprised they did. So, yeah, it wasn't too much of a surprise there, but yeah, look, they got what they deserved in the end.
Yeah, I think Duff used the word that we suffocated Bose. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Looking at some of the comments, which I don't often do from the Bohemian side of things, I think their fans would normally be up in arms. Some of them are, but I think the majority have just sort of accepted that they were so far off it. Shels probably won't have a handier game. A couple of questions and comments came in here, fellas. I'll just throw these out here. This came from Paul Kelly. We only gave Bose a sniff when we overplayed the ball in the first half. They didn't have anything to offer. We were much braver in on the ball in the second half, and we got what we deserved. And Dowd, we played very well defensively, gave Bose very little, but we need to be braver in the opponent's half. What does that mean, JB?
I think Ian just means a bit more penetration, probably taking that extra risky pass, or can we poke and prob through, similar to the second half of Pats. We were getting through the channel or through the lines, but playing good forward passes. But again, it's hard when Bows are sitting there in a low block. They're hanging on for a draw. They want the draw. They come for the draw, and the whole ground can see that. Um, Damien, yeah, he looks at it. Who do I bring on? He still had Ryan O'Kane on the bench and Ray Tulloch, two kind of traditional wingers, you could say. But it's all about being patient. I'm a huge fan of going after teams and putting the foot on the neck as such, and or the throat, and just going for it and putting them under pressure and keep getting in behind them, keep getting the balls down the channels, just being relentless, as is the word in the dressing room that Damien uses as well. Um, yeah, but you can't go full on kamikaze. You got to be structured and calm and composed in their play. And I think we knew, and the lads would know, that they are the stronger team. Um, and just to be patient and trust the process, and hope, and hoping that the opposition could tire out, or force into a mistake. And we got, with a bit of luck, the way the ball just fell to Meepo, and a nice touch back inside, and he took his goal well. Yeah, again, that's football. And then sure, Reynolds, does he make them three subs if we don't score? Because we made three subs after we scored 80 odd in the 81st minute, and Parsons came on, made a bit of a difference for them, to get an equaliser. But if the other team comes to talk and is going for the win as such, we would have a lot more space in the final third, and we'd be able to stretch teams much better. But that's why it's vitally important to take these chances when they come, because the League of Ireland, all the games are so competitive, so tight. Take your chances, and you're going to be thereabouts after come the 90 minutes and obviously the end of the season.
Well, Reynolds, I was looking back at the highlights. Reynolds was about to make those changes just before we scored, actually. So
Okay, right.
he did have the lads on the sideline, but he couldn't get them on the field. But that shows. It's easy to say it now when we look back because we scored it right at the exact right time. But that's not luck. That's down to having the right people in the right place at the right time. And that comes from experience. And we have to give the management team some credit for that. Another comment here for you, ads, from Stephen Jones. Thanks, Stephen. He thinks that we slowed the game down too much, which allowed Bowes to just sit in and not have much to do. We've wide midfielders who pass inside and then stop moving. Now, is that based off Stephen's UEFA A badges and his 25? No offense to Stephen, but is that just sort of a bit of a sideline view, or is there any validity to what he's saying there?
I think it's, look, you could say it's maybe 6-1, half dozen the other. Bows were sitting in regardless of how quick we were playing. I think they would have, maybe you're getting in behind ever so slightly, bit quicker. But I think the way we're set up to play is, I think Wood is playing off the left, isn't he? So he's right footed. He's predominantly going to come in on his right foot. And I think Caffrey was kind of the outlier on the right hand side. And he's the one who gets in and kind of, provides the goal to an extent at the end. So I think patience is key. We live in a world of social media and everything at the touch of our hand. And, we're very impatient beings these days. Sorry for getting philosophical, lads, but I think football's a game of 90 minutes. You know what I mean? We won the game essentially in the 78th minute. Patience is key. We won the league in Derry in the 84th minute. Like, come on. I think give the team the chance to see the plan through. And Duffer would have had them, drilled all week. Joey O'Brien would have them drilled all week in a certain way to play and a certain way to break balls down. And ultimately, that's what worked at the end. Wood cutting in on the right hand side, playing it through to Caffrey and ending up with Cute and Meepo puts it in. So I think for a lot of us, I think patience is key. We've waited a long time to be where we are now. So, maybe give the game plan some time to work out during the game too.
Thanks, Eds. John, this is my own personal opinion, but I still don't think Shels have fully got going to their own really high standards. And that's because the first round of games, it's every man for himself. It's absolute madness. There's results coming. We got Drogheda flying up the table. We got Cork now without any strike. It's just madness. So round two, we'll move on to the games this now weekend shortly. But would you agree that Shell still haven't really hit full throttle, and that's probably a good thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree to a certain extent. First and foremost, if you look at the league table after the first round of games, and we're 2 off the top, I think we'd all take that absolutely. It's a great problem to have in a way that we brought in new players into the building, added to the squad, all high caliber quality footballers, and it's all about integrating them into the nucleus of last year's squad, and how to really get everyone pulling in the same direction together. And at the same time, he has to adapt and change formations with the bad pitches at the start of the year, etc., playing away from home, and injuries. So, yeah, I think the second half of Pats last week and what Adam said, I think that was our most complete, as well as last Friday, absolutely. And I think we're starting to hit it. We're realizing what we have at our disposal, and I think the lads know that themselves. And the competition for places and training can only drive everyone on, and the standards go through the roof. Then on top of that as well. So, yeah, we're in a great place, I have to say. And there's still players to come in and who haven't really got much game time, and coming into the springtime, the better pitches, you might see more of our wingers involved. And again, it's a long season, it's a squad game, but I have to say, I see some negativity online, and I'm just similar to what Adam said. Be patient. We're not going to be, we're not perfect, but we're certainly in a great position, and I think we'll improve and get better.
Thanks, JB. Now, we had the interesting interview after the match, which some people seem to have got their knickers in a twist about some of Meepo's comments, Adzi, which was, I actually thought it was quite entertaining, and it's good to see a bit of honesty. But question here from David Hurley on that subject. Would love to hear your thoughts on Meepo's post-match interview, saying he had been fighting with Duff all week. I know he got the goal, but do you think saying that to the media is a bad look? You can look at this a number of ways, Ads, can't you?
Are we ever happy, lads? Jeez. Look, whether Duffer's not talking to him or if he is talking to him, the point of what Damien Duff was trying to do there was trying to motivate Meepo to impact the game. Okay? He comes on and he scores the winner in the game, and he says after the game, we haven't been talking all week. He said nothing to me before I came on. Just has Duff kind of not gotten what he's wanted from managing like that? Maybe he's, I can't imagine they've been training all week and Damien Duff hasn't said one word to him. I'd be very surprised. Just knowing, having met Duff the amount of times I've met him, I just couldn't imagine him not saying anything to him. Okay, but if that is the case, and what Meepo's saying is 100% true, and I'm not contradicting the truth from his mouth, it worked. Whatever issue it was that Duff had with him, it worked. He scored the winner in a Dublin derby, and that's what Damien Duff would have wanted. Whether it's good or bad, it's in the media. The media are going to interpret things whatever way they want. So I personally don't think it's a bad thing if the result is Meepo the Beckham scoring a winner in a Dublin derby. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree, Ads. I think anyone who's worked in leadership or management knows that you're not going to get on with everyone that you're working with. And particularly in a professional environment that these fellas work in day after day, you're going to get sick and tired of seeing some people. But I think it was very good management by Damien. He knows how to poke and prod a player. If he had told Meepo going on, "Oh, I think you're wonderful," and the sun shines out your arse, are you going to get the same impact? Or you want someone with fire in the belly? It's like what they say about Wayne Rooney and all these fellas. Or even like Sean Boyd, you need to have that bit of edge. So look, Meepo's come close in recent games, and I'm delighted for him that he got the goal, especially down the Ballybock end in front of our visiting fans who were like quiet as mice on the evening.
Just on you,
go ahead.
Really, really briefly, just on the first round of games, I think people sometimes fail to forget that, or fail to remember that sometimes luck is needed in football. We talked off air about Cork. They're currently being beaten 3-0 to Rovers. We played Cork a couple of weeks ago, and we could have scored, 3 or 4 goals. The goal they get, isn't the best goal on our end. Like, sometimes luck is needed, and I'm not saying the goal on Friday was lucky. It wasn't. It was well crafted and was well taken by Meepo. But it's a long season as well. Last season we got off to a great start. We took the bull by the horns and stuff. But you are going to play a part of the season where it's not going so smooth. So it might not be the worst thing that this bad patch of form, I wouldn't even call it a bad patch of form because we're 9 games into a season, has happened now. 2 points off the top after the first round, as defending champions isn't the worst position to be in. I would wager.
We haven't really touched, which is a good sign, John, on the injury situation, particularly at the back. When you consider that Sam Bowen, I don't think has played since is it the third game against Rovers. Paddy, I think is back, hopefully back soon, but we're missing quite a few. It was interesting that Duffer now in his pre-match notes, which I think come out sort of Wednesday, Thursday, he's basically said, "I'm not talking about that anymore." In the past, he would have said, "Oh well, Sean Boyd is a week out," or you'd sort of give a timeline. Whereas now he actually said, "I'm not talking about that anymore." It shows that the strength is there to come back. I said this to Dunny last week. If these guys do become available, is Mark Hoyle going to get the boot back up into the new padded seats in the stand? Or is he going to be having a chat with his manager to say, well, maybe give JJ a push because I'm your captain. get me back in that team. It's an interesting scenario.
Well, these are the headaches that come with it when we're signing the players in the off season. We're obviously looking to bolster the squad and the team for situations that have occurred, unfortunately, injury wise. Um, if you look, for instance, Tyreek left back, Chuck, who's just come in there seamlessly. Paddy's been missing. Lewis came in for Paddy. Unfortunately, Lewis has taken a knock. Evan filled in great for Sean Gannon. Mark Hoyle filled in then for Paddy or Sam, and it's absolutely fantastic. Can't remember the last time in the club where we just had that that again to reiterate the caliber of players and players who are so flexible and comfortable in not their traditional position. So when the players come back fit, I think it all depends what happens behind closed doors, how the training goes in the AUL. I think you take into account the opposition who we're playing against is a home and away. If we're winning 1 or 2-0 or we're up against it, you throw on your the injured defender who has been injured, you bring him back into the fold to get minutes in the belt under the belt. But it's certainly a headache that I wouldn't like to have. And again, it's a good problem. And also them lads coming back from injury in years gone by, you probably would have fitted or slotted back into the position. But you're playing in the champion squad. It's nothing is given. But again, that to say again that just drives the standards up in training, and it's great for us as fans to know that that's going on behind the scenes.
Ads, just before we move on to other items, we still haven't seen much of Ray Tulloch. We haven't basically seen very little of Ryan O'Kane. Do you think these lads are being held back in reserve for when, perhaps the pitches improve? Or is it just a case that they're not banging down Duff's door in training saying, get me in that team? What do you think?
What do I think? It's not something I've thought a lot about. I don't lie to you. I think Ryan. sorry, Andy. Ryan was Ryan was very good last season, effective when he came in, and I think O'Kane is a young lad, isn't he? So I think you're gonna coming into a new system. He's probably I imagine he's from Dundalk. I think he's from Dundalk. So he's moving up to Dublin for the first time. He's only a young lad, so I would give them time. Personally speaking, I think Rayan, he's effective when he's needed. Like the goal against Pats last year, I know we lost the game in the end, but I remember having really good games. I just think there's players ahead of them, Andy. To be honest with you, I think
Yeah.
there's good options. It's a very strong squad, and I think when O'Kane's been utilised, it's been predominantly in games in the last few minutes and such. I remember him coming on against Drogheda, and I think he came on against Cork as well, didn't he? So I would give them time. I don't know if the pitches is something to do with it. I'd say it's just being embedded into a new squad. And when the players ahead of them, I suppose, are the likes of Chapman and Harry Wood and Ali Q. It's not the easiest to get into, but it just shows the strength of the squad. Another player who we haven't seen is Dan O'Kelly, which I think if we were to get him fit and firing, I think we'd have a very good prospect on our hands. But look, it just shows the strength of the squad, doesn't it?
It does, and if and when Dan's back, I saw him there. I was in Tolka last Thursday to pick up a few bits in the shop, and the first team were training. So it was good to see Dan out on the pitch kicking a few balls. So great. Hopefully we see Dan in round 2, or if not then, as soon as possible. So, fellas, let's leave it there for Bose. We could reminisce about actually, before we do go, let's just talk about Tolka, John, because you're very much involved in the match night operations, and I think it would be remiss of me not to mention the big crowd, big atmosphere. It was a beautiful day, beautiful evening, and did I spot a tear in your eye at one stage? It was a special night.
Absolutely amazing. It was a night like that was long overdue. Welcoming that shower from up the road to Talca as champions was something that I was longing for since my teenage years, and yeah, it was what a night. 5,500 people there. The ground was absolutely bouncing. I watched the match with my old man in the main stand just behind the Bows dugout. The main stand was heaving. Everyone was singing, joining in with the Riverside chants. It was absolutely incredible, I have to say. Just brought me back to the old glory days of the 90s and the noughties, and how proud and special the feeling was around the club, because of the club was doing so well, success on the pitch, and the energy off the pitch is matched with that. So um, yeah, I have to say, and even the display before the match was absolutely fantastic by the boys 1895 and the BD and everyone who contributed and helped out. They're the best in the country for a reason. Also seeing so many young kids in with their parents, their grandfathers, grandmothers. A special mention also for my dad's old pal, Johnny Davis. I think he's pretty much blind now and deaf and the whole lot, but he's 90 odd years of age, and he sits in the third or fourth row in Section D, and he just goes to feel that Talca roar again. And like, I think when we all get to 90 odds, if we do ever get there, um, you know, no better feeling, no better place to be than Talca on a Friday night. Uh, then the halftime entertainment, Johnny Watson gets his 60th birthday jersey from co-owner Neil Doyle, who Neil has played a huge pivotal role for the renaissance in the club in the last year or so. He from the aesthetics of Talca have cleaned up fantastically. The meeting room, the dressing rooms, the club shop, um, just and the new fan zone that we're hoping to open now. It's just waiting to be signed off. Hopefully the end of this month. So huge credit to Neil. That was nice with Johnny. Lovely touch. I have to say, everything the media team are doing on and off the pitch, Cueva's inside match day videos, absolutely
Brilliant again today.
yeah, it's absolutely top class, and it really just sucks you in to what's going on in the club, and a sense of pride of who we are. And we're a Shelbourne football club. We're a big club, and we're all in it together. And long may it last. There's special times, and for the younger generations, anyone listening to this, don't take for granted. Um, Drink it all in. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep coming, supporting the lads and the girls. And you know, again, we're in it together, and let's keep maintaining, sustaining this, and keep pushing for success and winning trophies, because that's what the club is built on.
Well said, Johnny. Yeah, special evening, and yeah, I think we all just continue to respect Talca. She's an old lady, but she's ours, and on match nights, let's all do our bit to assist operations and enjoy ourselves. So, guys, let's leave that game there. We move on to the weekend ahead in just a moment. So, just a message to all our listeners. Just want to, again, as always, thank you for your taking time to listen to the show. Our listener numbers are going up and up every week, which is wonderful to see. And if you're listening to the show right now, I used to hate when people would say this on podcasts when I listen to them, lads, but if you can, just take a moment just to go into wherever you're listening and just give us a little rating. And if you wish, send us a comment, good, bad, or indifferent.
You've become what you hate, Andy, huh?
From the Reds, it's a podcast. You said it. It's a podcast for the fans, by the fans. And our Dunny's not here tonight, of course, but he told me to make sure we get those messages out.
He went to England to watch his first love, I think.
Yeah, the Blues. Broome didn't work out well. We'll get Dunny's match. I'll tell Dunny you said that, but yeah. So so Dunny was in Wembley, of course. Didn't. I'm sure he had a great day. We'll hear all about his trips to Wembley next week, please God.
I think they're coming up now as well.
So yeah, all show notes, all information. Please. Sorry, let's go ahead.
I think they're gone up, Birmingham, aren't they? I think they're already up and everything, so I'm sure he's not the worst.
They're set to go. They're almost home and hosed, but Wembley doesn't quite match Talca on a match night for me, anyway. So, guys, as we said more than once, round one is done and dusted. Um, let's have a quick word on that, lads. There's some good, bad. Was there any ugly, John, in those 9 games?
Uh, I suppose the manner of the goals, some of the goals and mistakes that were uncharacteristic of us, but I think that's all ironed out now, you could say. And again, we're 2 points off top after the first round. We can't complain. But I know some of us would still complain because that's the beauty of this club.
Yeah, that's you said it. So let's look ahead to Friday, Adam. Our old buddies, the ones who got a blow on us there a few weeks ago in Talca, were away to Drogheda. These games are coming thick and fast now. Good Friday, I think it is. Going to be a big night up in is it Sullivan and Lamb Park. Does the manager mix it up for Friday and Monday, or does he just go full speed ahead and see what happens on Friday night?
I think it really depends who's available, Andy, doesn't it? I think I wouldn't be opposed to seeing maybe Meepo coming in from the start. I think he himself and Boyd were quite good at the start of the season. They had a nice little partnership going, so I wouldn't be against seeing Meepo being thrown in. I think you also want to be cautious because you want to show Drogheda a bit of respect. I think they've done really well. Kev has them set up so well. He's such a good coach, and I think since they are full time now, aren't they? Since they've gone full time, they've full steam ahead, and they've a really decent squad as well. So they're not where they are by any luck or anything. They came to Talca, they turned us over. I think the week before they were up in Dalymount, they turned Bows over. I know that's not the hardest thing in the world to do, but they've been really good. I think is the general point I'm trying to make, and um, Good Friday could be a great Friday if Shels get the win down there. So let's hope they do. I would fancy us down there. I don't think there's a whole I don't think there's a whole lot between us. So I would be expecting a decent result down there. Andy, you're mute there.
Sorry, John. Sorry, guys. Classic mistake there, John. Sorry, I was going to say it's very tight pitch up in Drogheda. Do you think Duffer will make any dramatic changes formation wise, or really just try and do a copy and repeat of what happened last Friday?
Yeah, I think it'd be copy and repeat. Drogheda will sit in like bows, and they try and play the way they did in Talca against us, which has worked so well for them. Like Adam touched on there, they went to Pats the first night, got a 0-0 draw. They beat Bows and Dalymount. They beat us. Uh, they went to the Brandywell and they won the Brandywell as well. So uh, they're happy to sit in and counter attack. The us going up there, Kev won't favour us at all. Um, but I think again we're going to have to be very very patient. Win our battles, win our duels on that tight pitch. Drogheda will make it a dogfight, and we just need to be clinical in the final third. If we take our chances, I'm fairly confident we should have enough to get the 3 points and get down the road.
I have a question here from a friend of the show, Tyke Brennan Adam. Now he said about JJ going off injured on Friday. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's injured or not. I haven't heard. But Tyke is asking, does that mean that Coyle may move back into midfield for Drogheda? Now I don't know whether we have any information on JJ. I just thought it was more of a tactical change. But Tyke is asking the same question again in terms of do we, sort of stick or twist in terms of Friday? Do we play show our full hand in terms of going full out for that game? Because on Monday afternoon, then we have the small matter of Galway coming to town.
Yeah, I don't know if he is injured. I think if he is, we know how kind of crucial JJ is to how we play and stuff at times. And look, if he is injured, honest to God, I think a player like Coos or even Rayan or Meepo, I think a player like that. I don't think Drogheda are undefeatable, and I think it kind of the way the pitch is, the narrow pitch, it kind of lends to almost two up top in a way, I'd say, and I think that was we struggled maybe in the first half against Bows with um, Boydie was left on his own. He was isolated at times. If the ball was getting up to him, there was no one there to kind of pick it up. And I think with the likes of Wood, Chapman, and McEnroy in midfield, and then maybe Meepo or Coote coming in to kind of support Boyd a bit more, I don't think that'd be the worst shot in the world. But yeah, I'd be very much for a more attacking player in that position coming in. Excuse me.
There's plenty of familiar faces on the drug side, Johnny. Shane Farrell has had a good season so far, but a former Shels man who people may not know is Warren Davis from his younger days. He's been on fire, including his goal in the month against us in Talca. Is it's are drugs now not favourites for every game, but do they have to now deal with the lack of surprise? They're not sort of the surprise package anymore. They're top of the league, and could that affect their mindset? It's fine going into games when you're the underdogs, but now there's a bit of pressure on them to
Yeah,
deliver.
well, I'm not sure if it's. I hear what you're saying. The fact that they got themselves into this position, but I really don't think there's much pressure on them. They're in bonus territory. Let's call it for what it is. Um, I think what's important to note is that every single one of them would run through the brick walls for Kev. They all love playing for him. They love buying into that system. The kind of disease mentality. It's the proverbial underdogs, and he loves it, and it's working for them this year. Will their luck run out? Who's to know? But the way they set up, and especially in this league, very difficult to break down. And they're taking their chances and taking great goals, set pieces, um, and hurting teams where it matters most in the final third. Um, I think a lot of them players have a point to prove, you could say. They probably felt harshly treated or unfairly treated at previous clubs, and this is the perfect environment for them to excel or to really express who they are and what they're capable of. Um, and again, I certainly would, as a personal point of view, I'd love to play for Kevin Doherty and Dara Doyle. And I think as well to finally to remember with Drogheda, this is their first year gone full time. I certainly I, I was shocked the results they were getting based on the President's Cup performance they put in against us. And but then when I watched the highlights back of the games, they just do the basics so well, and I think 9 times out of 10 in games that works for you. It's really the simple, the basic stuff in football. Defend your box, clear your lines, take your chances when they come, and just work and row in together for each other. Um, they be well up for us coming up there now on Friday. The champions come to town. The kind of the ex Shells contingent, and Kev obviously as well, and Dara Doyle. Um, but no, we'll have nothing to fear. I know you mentioned about the Monday game coming up with Galway. We're used to the Friday and Monday games now. Um, yeah, it's all about managing your squad depth. Um, but you know, do we go and play for draws? No, we have to go out with the clientele, the personnel we have in the squad. We got to go out and really go for the wins in every game.
Our away form, Adam, has actually been better than our home form. We've put in some decent performances and good results on the road. Is this one that a draw would be okay, or will we again see people losing the run of themselves if we just take a point from up there? We've had mixed results up there in recent years. We've had some good performances and some less than exceptional ones. It's a boisterous crowd. It's a tight pitch, and it's real. It's what League of Ireland's all about. But you must be looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think if Friday's anything to go by, you'll always have someone complaining about something. Um, I think a win is primary. I think I kind of agree with John. I think it's going to be a long season for Drogheda in terms of I wouldn't say the pressure's on them just yet. There's still very much, bonus territory, as John said. Like, this is more than what they could have wanted from the first round of games. Like that again, they haven't been lucky. I wouldn't say. I think they've fully deserved that, and even come to talk the way they did and turn this over. Like I said, from the Presidents Cup game, it was like two different teams. It was almost, it was complete polar opposite. I thought. Um, but yeah, no, I think a win is what's needed. I think coming away with a draw, look, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I do agree with it. I do agree with you to an extent. You're going away to the team top of the table, coming away with a point is good. But if we want to be up there at the end of the season, these are the games you're going to be judged on, especially given where Drogheda are at the minute. And yeah, personally speaking, I love Drogheda away. 2019 is it's fresh in the mind. Every time we go down there, I think that was the last. That would have been the last away game I went to with my father before he passed, and then the first away game coming out of COVID was down in drugs as well. 2-0, we won. Second game of the season, Mark Coyle in the last minute. So it's quite a peculiar place. I'm not mad on Drogheda itself. I'm not. It's grand. I don't have any, good or bad feelings towards, but it's a bit of a spiritual place to an extent for myself. So yeah, I love going down to Drogheda. It's only down the road. There's a pub outside the ground. Supermax on the way home. You can't
Yep.
go too wrong.
You have it all sorted
Yeah.
by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Andy,
As I said, go ahead, John. Sorry.
so if we could just come in there and give the club bus a plug there.
Yes.
We have a bus going from Talca on Friday, leaving Talca at 6. There's still seats available. I know tickets will be on sale tomorrow at 7 o'clock, Tuesday, at 7.
Yes.
And anyone who is looking to head up on the bus, you can get in contact with myself on 087 661 0927. And we've had some great away days so far this year. Great crack in the bus. And let's hope for another 3 points on Friday.
Absolutely. Your bus hasn't suffered any malfunctions that we know of so far this year, John?
No, just one or two of the younger lads who may have had their first sip of sherry and they've got sick into the toilet here and there. But look,
we've all been there.
We've all been there. Part of life's lessons.
Right. So all going well on Friday. We'll have a few points in the bag from Drogheda. But then, as I said, on Monday afternoon, we have Easter Monday. It's Galway United. John Caulfield and his gang are back in town. The Galway, I think we all know what we get from Galway. It's going to be a hell of a slog, but adds for these games, is it about trying to outsmart John Caulfield, if possible? Because he's been around a long time. He's after putting together a fairly formidable team who are, as things stand, on the same points as ourselves. We had a tough draw away to them there about a month or so ago, and we welcomed them to Talca on Monday. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the Batman and Robin duo, isn't it? Caulfield and Horgan. What way do you describe it? Look at their dogged. They play the way they've always played, like Caulfield and Horgan. That is so. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game. Like this again, Andy. I think we're in a very good position, squad wise. I don't. I think we've one of the things I like about the squad. It goes back to last season as well. The likes of Wood in particular. We have problem solvers. We have players on the pitch that if something's going wrong, they have the kind of know how to kind of turn it around themselves. And we've gone into games at half time this season and almost come out like a different team second half. We were obviously the same artillery at play. So yeah, I think Monday's going to be a difficult game. The game against Galway away earlier in the season was that weird kind of offside goal that was given or wasn't given, and then I think it hit John Martin, so it was no goal anyway, so it was always going to be given. But look, it's going to be a tough game. I think focus on Friday first, and then roll into Monday. And like anything, if you win on Friday, Monday's that bit easier because you're going in a bit more confident. You're going in with a fire in your belly, then So yeah, look, I think we'll take Friday first, and then focus on Monday the following days.
Hopefully, a big crowd on Monday, John. Your old buddy Mauro Bacotto, I believe, is in town as well. Any information on the plans for that? I hear he's doing a gig.
Yeah, it's great to have Mauro back involved. He's doing a gig on the Sunday in town, and he's going to come to Talca on the bank holiday Monday He's going to take over the PA box from 4:30 onwards, and just to build the atmosphere, get the crowd going. And yeah, it's we're lucky that he agreed to it, and he's going to get involved. But yeah, hopefully he'll get the stands pumping, and get the players going as well. We're looking to have another big crowd. I think the 5 o'clock kickoff is a huge factor. An evening kickoff on the bank holiday Monday, or any Monday. I'm not a fan of Monday games, but on a bank holiday, if you're playing 4 or 5, it gives people a chance to come back up from, maybe they were away for the weekend, or they were down the country, whatever it may be, and yeah, getting down to Talca for 5 is perfect timing, and you're also home in a relatively early time after that. So lads and families can come down. Those who mightn't be able to make the Friday night kickoffs, because young kids, you can bring the kids down. It's a bit more family friendly time, you could say. And I'm sure Galway as well will bring a good crowd with them on Monday. In relation to the match itself, I think Galway and John, he's always respected Damien, and he's respected the lads. Um, Again, I think they're going to do what every team has nearly come to talk of this year, is nearly just sit in, make it awkward, make it difficult for us. They put on an extra 10%. They work their backsides off there, in fairness, as does every John Caulfield team. But remember, Dave, a tough fixture at home to Derry on Friday, and it all depends what they get out of that. If Derry manage to get a win, are they under a bit more pressure to come up and do us? They'd be buoyed by that win in Dalymount a couple of weeks ago. But no, I'm fairly confident we should have enough in both games. And like Adam said, if we want to be up there, these are the kind of games, the Friday, Monday, draw it away, Galway at home. On paper, you got to be getting 6 points and really putting down a marker for the rest of the league to say this Shels team aren't going away anytime soon.
I think the game we played, the only defeat adds against Drogheda. John Caulfield and perhaps other away managers might see that as a template of how to play Shels in Tulka. But I'm sure Damien and his coaching staff have actually used that disappointing game in their favour now. They've obviously have to figure out how do we actually break down teams now if we're going to have to be facing this every 2 or 3 weeks when someone comes to town. Do you think Shels, if that's what they do face, will have the keys to open up the Galway defence? They're a big side physically, and they love their long balls and their corner kicks and their set pieces. And I don't mean that in any way disrespectful, because they're playing to their full strengths. But it's going to be a very interesting mix-up, isn't it? You got the wily old fox and Caulfield, and the so-called new, not quite the new pretender, but should I say 2 championship-winning managers, by the way. But it's going to be a juicy one on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, I think Galway do a good thing of, proving that there's more than one way to skin a cat. I think modern football is very samey to a degree. And yeah, the way they set up, the way they win games, it's very much trying to shut you out and hit you where it hurts. And the big physical lads, it's almost like a bit of a throwback in a way, isn't it? I think yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting affair. It's never easy against Galway. It's never easy against Caulfield, generally speaking. Like the games over the years have been pretty tight. Like I remember going up to Galway last year in the run-in, and we lost 1-0, didn't we? And that was, I think at that night, thank God you weren't doing the podcast then, Andy. I think you would have been cancelled. I think everyone thought the league was gone that night, didn't they? So, like, look,
Yeah, desperate performance, yeah.
it's not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not going to be made any easier if the performance on Friday night's not up to the standard that they want it to be. I think a win on Friday is the primary, and then you focus on Galway after that. And if you win on Friday, you go into the game on Monday bouncing. And I think you don't really you see that in modern football a lot now. You had Liverpool in Champions League a couple of weeks ago against PSG. Extra time penalties Liverpool lose on penalties, and then they lose the cup final on Sunday. You flip the coin there, and you say Liverpool win penalties against PSG. They go into the Sunday bouncing. It's all momentum. It's all motivation. It's all kind of getting their own back up. So I do think focus on Friday, and then try and take down the Galway juggernaut on Monday.
Fully agree. As we're recording tonight on a Monday, Shamrock Rovers have beaten Cork in that game they had in hand. So Rovers, just looking at the table now, still early days, but you've got 5 teams. Shels just down to 5th for the moment on goal difference, but 2 points separating 5 teams. It's incredibly close. Our Shels, in the past, we've sort of drawn a lot of games, which, when you look back, they're sort of, the games which you sort of hope you might nick them here and there. Draws can sometimes get a team nowhere fast. So I think, as you said, I think any sort of 3 points against any of these teams that are in and around you are massive. So fingers crossed for 2 big performances this Friday and Monday. Just before we move on to the other game in Dalymount, which we enjoyed on Saturday evening, I forgot to forget you, ads. Just we do our final sort of round 1 summary. Any standout points to yourself? Any good, bad, or anything that areas to improve on?
I think be patient. Be patient and hope that the players that come back, they come back fit, they come back motivated. And like summer comes around, there's going to be European football. We're going to be going away again. Try and enjoy it for what it is at the minute. Like Friday night was great, and Saturday evening as well was great for the club. So the club's in a really good position at the minute, on and off the pitch. And I think just on the pitch wise, just be patient. Give it time. There's a lot of moving parts, and 9 games into the season isn't time for panicking. Yeah, I'd be patient.
Yeah, certainly no panicking, that's for sure. We can't finish up the show, John, without mentioning the impressive win on Saturday evening in Dalymount, led by our elite striker, Pearl Slattery again, 2 for Pearl. It was a great start for Shels, but they looked a little bit ropey, I thought, for 10 or 15 minutes, and Amanda McQuillan dug them out with 1 or 2 saves. But that sort of 3 goals, obviously 3 goals just before half time, really put the game to bed. Shels are starting to motor now after that opening day defeat.
Yeah, that's four wins in a row there now. The manner of beating Bows, any time you beat Bows is always great, obviously. But the manner of beating them on their own patch the day after the lads on the Friday night was something special. Amanda at 1-1, if Amanda doesn't make them saves, if Bows go 2 or 3-1 up, it's a different complexion on the game. But I have to say, Mackenzie's finish, that chip, it's not out of place on the world stage. What a player she is. And the birthday girl, Pearl, getting 2 goals and running over. And she mentioned in the interview afterwards, celebrating with the fans and those who were up in Dalymount. Special moments for the girls to win that game, and to score 7 goals. Like Owen, before the game he touched on that they haven't conceded too many. Was it 2 against Rovers and then 2 against Bows there? But to score 7 away from home, different goal scorers, headers, different types of goals, he has to be very pleased with how the season has gone so far. And again, new players have come in to join the squad, and others have left. So hopefully they keep pushing on, keep winning. I know they're a point behind at Lone at the moment, but again, similar to the men, it's a long season. Have to keep picking up the wins and hoping others around you will drop points. But fantastic start to the season, and again a great win up in the arch enemies. So can't complain. Great weekend.
Yeah, that Mackenzie Anthony second goal, it reminded me of a young Adam Leonard. Just thinking the keeper. I'd say Mackenzie's done well since she's come in, and I think that when you actually see her play, she's a big, strong presence, great footwork. She could be fairly key to a title charge this year, couldn't she?
Yeah, I was a bit dumbfounded as to where that point was going, Andy. But yeah, I think like you look at Noel's been doing it for a long time. Gemma Quinn, obviously, like we've had players, Rebecca Denver, like we've had players that have been there, and for a player like Mackenzie to come in and kind of hit the ground running, it's kind of relieve some of the pressure, I suppose, on some of the players who've been around for a bit longer. So the chip's quality, isn't it? Like I think it shows how confident she is. It shows how it shows her ability as well, doesn't it? I think look, it's gonna be one of those seasons that division, as tight as we're saying the men's division is, the women's division's incredibly tight as well. It's not an easy league to win per se, and we've done it a few times the past few years, and obviously the cup victories and stuff, and all these stalwarts that we have, the likes of Pearl, Noel, Amanda McQuillan, like there's players there who've been there and done that, and for a player like Mackenzie to come in and just, like I said, hit the ground running, it shows where the club is going. Both men and women, I suppose.
I'll give a shout out to Rachel Graham, John, who um, rolled back the years on Saturday with a couple of crunching tackles on some familiar faces that she would have played with in the past. All good, clean tackles. Rachel is, you know,
I,
age is no barrier to her. She's still fit as a fiddle and flying around that pitch. But in terms of goal scorers, we're seeing Leah Doyle, who I'm a huge fan of. Leah Doyle's getting on the score sheet again,
Mhm.
and then of course the ever reliable Kate Mooney, who perhaps Kate again may have had one of her slightly quieter games, but when the chance comes, she absolutely buries it in the top corner. What's your sort of standout thoughts about how that squad is settling down now after the first 4 or 5 games?
yeah, I think it was crucially important to get a win straight after losing to Rovers at home. The disappointment and the manner of it. Um, Again, you mentioned the Bows game there, the different goal scorers. Rebecca Cook as well on the score sheet. Leah, Kate. You know, you said quiet enough game, but she's getting the goal, and Pearl scoring what she loves, scoring headers is what she does. I think Owen will be very pleased with the manner of it. It's still like I said, new girls coming in, looking to adapt, players who played with the club coming back in, and also are the girls coming up through the academy as well. So I think all the structures and systems are in place there. It's an elite environment for them, and it's going to get better and better. And I have to hats off to Owen Warren and to Rory Kirk and everyone else in the background for pushing them girls day in day out. They're a credit to themselves, to the club, their families, and everyone knows Talca on a Saturday. It's a special day, special um, environment to be around, and I think they're going to get better. It really is really positive times for them, and hopefully now we'll be able to get over the line this year. I know we just lost last year at that Athlone game in Talca, the referee decision not to bring it back up, but these are the small margins in such a tight league, and in a league that we're nearly going to be expected, you could say, that Owen would have that expectation on the girls to go out and win every game. So yeah, let's see. We're come still early days, but they'll be in a great place, great buzz. They seems to be brilliant camaraderie, great pals off the pitch. So that can only bode well for the games ahead.
There's a big game to come this Saturday in Talca. It's going to be a big, busy weekend in Talca. So if anyone can get down to that game, 4 p.m. Cork City are in town. Always a nice bit of spice to those games when our friends from Cork turn up. Ads. What's match day like for anyone who may not have popped down on a Saturday to see the women's games? It's a different atmosphere, but it's also very enjoyable. Great with the top class performers on the field.
Yeah, I don't think it's as chaotic as a Friday night, which I don't necessarily think is the worst thing in the world. It's a nice contrast. Um, I think it's a good introduction to I suppose Shells and to Tolkien in general. If you have like, I remember one of my first experiences for Shells was a Champions League night, and I remember shaking like a shit dog, to be honest, going into the ground. The atmosphere was unbelievable, but for some kids, they're not into that, and it is a nice introduction. It's much more calm. It's the football on shows of a high quality as well. It's sunny on a Saturday as well. I found from when I've been up in the gantry. I know you're the master of that now, Andy. So yeah, look, it's one of those things you have to. I would definitely, if it's not something you've done and you're listening and you're curious and it's something you're interested in, I would definitely go down and you can have a few beers in the ground as well, which is always nice on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, we're lucky to have these exceptional ambassadors and players for our club. So I fully encourage everyone, if you can, get down on Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. kickoff. I'll be on LOI TV duty as always. Adam, we haven't heard you on LOI TV in recent times. Is that because Shels are now too big for LOI TV, or will we ever hear your sweet tones again on the mic?
Um, I believe I'm doing the game next Monday, so you'll hear me next Monday
Wow.
if you're not in Talca, or if you're not in Talca, you're listening internationally.
I might stay
Unless
home for that one.
do you know what, John? You might be better off going to the ground. Look, there's not a whole lot I can do if the games are on Virgin Media, and Declan Drake has done such a good job filling in on Friday night as well. So look, it's always great to represent the club in any way, shape, or form. Even doing this is great. So, yeah, you'll hear me on Monday night if you're not in Talca. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but the return's on Monday, Andy, I believe.
Fantastic. Well, in the build up to last Friday's game against Bohemians, there was plenty of clips from your Jack Moylan Cup quarter final, I think it was, from 2 or 3 years ago. So you're you're down in the history books for the years ahead, ads. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite ones, Andy. Just really quickly, I we all know a few Bulls fans, don't we? So it's always nice when that's posted by Shels or the league or whatnot. So yeah, thanks a million, Andy. You're very kind to me always.
Yeah, well, you got a spot on, ads. If you made a mess of it, you would have got an earful. But you never do those things. So well done. So lads, we're nearly done. Thanks for all your patience tonight. Any final thoughts before we head into a very busy weekend, fellas? JB.
No, just looking forward to it. It's great that the games are coming thick and fast. Again, we're 2 points off top. We're going to have to stay patient and enjoy it. I think Damien said it before the season starts. We're not going to rest on our laurels here. We're not going to just be one and done. We're going out to win this and attack it, not defend it. We're going out to attack it, and I think we've all got on board with that. Um, the lads in the Riverside as well. Even given the numbers on the away trips, I have to commend all the fans who've made the trips up and down the country this year. Um, I think there's nearly less pressure from a fan's point of view, and it's a bit more whatever the lads do. If they get the win, get a result, great. But I think we all know now that we have a squad capable of going on again and winning it. Oh, excited! Tried a nice away trip. Adam mentioned there as well for his own reasons, but I always loved it myself over the years. All a couple of hundred Shells fans under that terrace. Great atmosphere, up close to the action, and really looking forward to it. And then for Saturday, I'm sure the girls are chomping at the bit to get back out on the pitch after beating Bows the way they did. Cork come to town. I'm sure they'll be fairly confident in getting a result and hopefully be able to rack up a few goals. We get a win in Drogheda. Hopefully, we get a good crowd for the girls on Saturday and again for the lads on Monday in Talca. So good feel, good positive factor around the club, and long may it last. We all have a part to play.
These are wonderful times for the club, Adam. Any thoughts before we let you hit the bed? I know it's been a long day for you.
Yeah, I am longing for my bed, Andy. I won't lie to you. For anyone, that's only getting on board now. I know the club's growing at a very quick rate. The sport and that. Enjoy this because these are the times. You know what I mean? These are the days, and you're listening to three L lads who've been going to watch Shels for far too long and have stuck around and have reaped the rewards of sticking around. So, yeah, support the lads, support the ladies. Get out on Monday as well. And I suppose just final thought on the weekend that was, Bows, they're 100% fan owned, but they were 100% Shells owned. And I think that's a nice way to end it.
Well
Couldn't
done,
agree
Adam.
more. John Brennan,
Yeah.
Adam Leonard, thanks so much for your time tonight, fellas. Up the Reds. We will hope for a very successful weekend. And thanks for all you do for the club, fellas.
Cheers,
It's been
Andy.
a pleasure. And we shall speak to everyone next week.
Cheers, gents.
See you, lads. All the best.